Estacam 1.732 palavras. Pouco acima do limite. Dixe eu cordeiro excesso. Ainda pouco alto. Mais corte. That's close enough to the range, 1,669 words, 11-minute at natural pace, while keeping every story beat and fact intact. Here's the final version, ready to copy. What does it take to work in a place where one mistake in timing could cost you your life, and where the paycheck reflects exactly that risk? Today, a young man named Malik is about to find out. Somewhere below the surface of every ocean, river, and harbor on Earth, there's a job happening right now that almost nobody sees. The people who do it work in darkness, in freezing cold, under crushing pressure, often alone with nothing but a voice in their helmet keeping them connected to the world above. Malik has spent years dreaming about becoming one of them. Today, that dream stops being a dream. The sun hasn't fully risen yet, and Malik is already standing in a parking lot he's never stood in before, staring up at a building that's about to change the entire direction of his life. This is the Commercial Diving Institute. To anyone driving past, it looks like just another training center. But for Malik, it's the place he's been imagining for years, long before he understood what it would actually demand from him. Because this isn't scuba diving for fun. It isn't vacation snorkeling or a weekend hobby. This is professional, high-stakes underwater work, the kind that keeps entire industries running while the people doing it stay almost completely out of sight. He takes a breath, adjusts the strap on his bag, and walks through the front doors of the administration building. Inside, it's quieter than he expected. No dramatic music, no fanfare, just fluorescent lights, a front desk, and a woman checking names off a clipboard. Malik gives his, and she hands him a folder thick with paperwork, a name badge, and a schedule that already looks more intense than anything he prepared for. This is the moment it stops being a dream and starts being real. He's led into a room with a dozen other students, all sitting in uneven rows, all carrying the same nervous energy Malik feels tightening in his chest. This is orientation, the first official step into a career that very few people are actually cut out for. Within minutes, he starts to understand why. An instructor walks in. He's not loud, not flashy, not trying to impress anyone. He's calm in a way that only comes from spending real time in dangerous water. After introducing himself, he says something that instantly reshapes how Malik sees the next few months. Most of you think you're here to learn how to dive, he says. You already know how to dive. You're here to learn how to work underwater. That's a completely different skill. That single sentence lands harder than Malik expects, and it raises a question he can't shake for the rest of the day. What exactly separates someone who can swim underwater from someone the ocean can actually trust with a job? Commercial diving isn't about exploring coral reefs or photographing marine life. It's a trade, a demanding, highly technical profession where people build, repair, inspect, and rescue underwater, keeping the surface world functioning without most people ever noticing. Offshore oil and gas platforms hire divers to inspect pipelines and repair equipment hundreds of feet beneath the waves, often in total darkness. Ports and harbors need divers for underwater construction, building docks, reinforcing pilings, laying foundations that ships and buildings quietly depend on. When a cargo ship is damaged, divers go underneath it for repairs, sometimes welding steel in zero visibility, working entirely by feel. Bridges that millions of vehicles cross daily require divers to inspect support columns hidden beneath rivers and bays, checking for corrosion no one on land will ever see. When something valuable sinks, a boat, a vehicle, critical cargo, salvage divers recover it. And in the scientific world, researchers depend on trained divers to study fragile ecosystems and track how the ocean is changing. It's a career woven into nearly every major industry on the planet, and yet most people never think about it once. The instructor hands out books and training manuals, and Malik feels their weight settle into his hands. Not just physically, but symbolically. This stack of paper represents years of hard-earned knowledge, compressed into a training program about to test him in ways he doesn't fully understand yet. Then comes the tour, and this is where his heartbeat picks up. They walk past shelves lined with professional diving helmets, heavy, reinforced, built to withstand crushing pressure that would destroy recreational gear in seconds. Built into each helmet is a communication system, because commercial divers never work in silence or isolation. They stay in constant contact with a surface support team tracking every second of the dive. Next, racks of dry suits line the wall, and the instructor explains why they matter so much. Unlike the wetsuits Malik has used before, dry suits seal divers completely from the water essential in the cold, contaminated, or hazardous environments they face regularly. Losing body heat underwater isn't just uncomfortable. It's dangerous. It slows reaction time, blurs focus, and dulls judgment, turning a routine task into an emergency within seconds. Then the room goes quiet for a topic the instructor clearly doesn't take lightly: decompression theory. He explains it simply, but with weight behind every word. As divers descend, their bodies absorb rising amounts of nitrogen under increasing pressure. Surface too quickly, and that nitrogen has no time to safely leave the body. Instead, it forms bubbles inside the bloodstream and tissue. This is decompression sickness, better known as the bends, and it can cause anything from crippling joint pain to permanent paralysis. That's exactly why commercial divers follow strict dive tables and controlled descent procedures every single time, without exception. Safety here isn't a suggestion. It's the entire foundation the profession is built on. One skipped step, one rushed descent, and the consequences can follow a diver for the rest of their life. Malik studies the material alongside his classmates, comparing notes, asking questions, already forming the instinct for teamwork that will define his career. In commercial diving, nobody works alone. Every dive depends on a team: a tender managing the lines above, a supervisor tracking depth and time, a partner ready to respond the instant something goes wrong. Trust isn't optional here. It's survival. From there, equipment training brings a new challenge: understanding how scuba regulators convert high-pressure air from a tank into breathable air with every inhale. It sounds simple until Malik realizes how much precision engineering keeps a diver alive underwater, breath by breath, with zero room for failure. Then comes physical training, and this is where excitement collides with reality. Commercial diving ranks among the most physically demanding careers in the world. Divers battle strong currents, haul heavy equipment, and perform hard manual labor in near-zero visibility. So Malik and his classmates are pushed through conditioning drills built to test endurance, raw strength, and a kind of mental toughness he didn't know he needed. Finally, the moment he's been waiting for arrives: the training pool. He suits up in equipment far heavier than anything he's touched before. The helmet alone feels like it's pressing down on both his neck and his ambition. He steps into the water, and instantly, everything changes. Movement slows, sound shifts. Every sense has to work harder just to stay aware of what's happening around him. He begins his first basic drills, and almost immediately, it's clear this is far harder than he imagined. Partway through a routine task, his hands fumble against the equipment, his breathing quickens, and for a few tense seconds, nothing goes the way it's supposed to. His instructor's voice cuts through his headset, steady and unbothered, walking him back through the steps. It's a small moment, but it rattles him. A reminder that down here, even the simplest mistake demands his full attention. His arms feel impossibly heavy, and tasks that would take seconds on land become frustrating, exhausting struggles beneath the surface. For a moment, doubt creeps in, quiet but persistent. Is he actually built for this? Then he remembers why this career carries so much weight in the first place. Commercial divers require rigorous certification, hundreds of hands-on hours, and relentless safety training, because companies are trusting them with dangerous, high-stakes work most people would never attempt. Because that responsibility is real, experienced divers are paid accordingly. Entry-level positions already offer a solid income, but as divers gain experience and specialize in underwater welding, saturation diving, or offshore operations, their earning potential climbs sharply. Some experienced commercial divers working offshore in oil and gas eventually earn well into six figures. That number isn't just a paycheck. It's the value the world places on mastering something almost nobody else can do. By nightfall, Malik is exhausted in a way he's genuinely never felt before. His body aches from muscles he didn't know he had. His mind feels overloaded with theory, procedures, and unfamiliar terminology. Alone in his room, he spreads his manuals across the table, reviewing decompression charts and equipment diagrams by lamplight while the rest of the building falls silent around him. It would be easy to quit tonight. It would be easy to convince himself this is simply too much for one person to handle. But underneath all